idea. I will find him!
You're a breed. Men are brave.
Not about deserve. It's about what you believe.
Could've just peed on him.
Like brunch. Like, what is brunch?
The story of the Defiance is well known.
What, we some kind of suicide squad?
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
Martha!
Hello everyone and welcome back to Enter the SnyderVerse, the movie, goddammit, the show where we are going through every movie in the DCEU. I am Kyle. I am joined by Nathan. Hello.
Hi everyone, I'm Nathan. I'm one of your other hosts on this show.
And I didn't think of a bit for who I am, because I like to do a bit of who I am.
This is a serious movie, Kyle. We have no bits.
This is a very serious movie. I am Agent Hobbs. Who's your famous rock character?
Who did he play in Central Intelligence? Who's the guy play? Remember that film he has the big white gorilla? What was that called?
He's in all the movies. He's in Jumanji. He's in that movie where he has one leg and he's on a skyscraper.
I am The Rock's character from Star Trek Voyager.
You're about to go into jail with 7 of 9.
I am about to have a fight with 7 of 9, Captain of the Enterprise. I am. So the hierarchy of the DCEU, Kyle, is about to change.
It's about to change. Oh my god, I forgot all about that.
Kyle, if only he knew how right he was.
Yes, we are talking about Black Adam today, if it wasn't clear from the title of the video.
Yeah, Black Adam. What a film.
What a film.
You've seen this before, haven't you, Kyle?
Yes, this is somehow one of the 3 movies I'd seen before. I'll tell you exactly what it was, right?
Yeah.
My parents had it on, and they were down the stairs, and they said, "Hey, Kyle, do you want to join us to watch Black Adam?" And I initially said, "Nah, I'll pass."
Right.
But I just uploaded a video earlier that day, and you get into this thing where you upload a video where you're just obsessed with looking at your analytics, which is just like, it's not good. So I was like, I'm just sitting here staring at my analytics. I may as well go watch this movie. So I went back down, and they were about 10 minutes into it, and they said, "You know what, we're just going to reset it," because my mum specifically said, "This movie is going to be fun to hear you and my dad talking over it about how dumb it is."
Okay. There's a whole other podcast there that was never recorded.
Yeah, so this is not the worst movie we've watched.
No.
At all. But this is one of the dumbest movies we've watched. You know what? I would describe, when there's a class of like posh movie critic types who view superhero movies as like lesser.
Yeah.
I think this is the movie they're thinking of when they're talking about superhero movies.
Well, I think they're talking about Venom.
I think this has a lot of Venom energy.
Do you? Okay, I think this is actually significantly better than any of the SnyderVerse films. Okay.
To be clear, I've not seen Venom, so you could be correct, but based on the way people talk about Venom, I think this movie is quite similar.
I think this film is... So we should probably just talk about what we thought of this film, Kelly. So you just kind of thought this was just nonsense?
Yes.
Right, so I think this film is middle of the stack, slightly edging towards lower good.
Okay.
I liked it. I actually liked Black Adam. When I saw it in the cinema, I kind of thought it was fairly entertaining. And then obviously the hype around Henry Cavill returning as Superman, which gets me. I'm sure we'll talk about it later.
Absolutely, we will.
I thoroughly enjoyed this film at the time. Not top 10 best comic book movies ever made, but again, middle of the stack, maybe upper middle, And my takeaway from it was good. And then it turns out the internet over time started to hate it. And more news came out that
I don't think it was an over-the-time process. I think it was pretty immediate.
Yeah, but I saw it opening day, and then as the weeks went on, this film wasn't becoming profitable, and The Rock started putting out articles to prove why the movie was in fact profitable, but it clearly wasn't, and then the studio dropped it.
I think everything revolving around The Rock outside of this movie is more interesting than the actual movie itself.
Oh, for sure. I will agree with you on that. But just as a piece of entertainment, I had fun with it, right? Now, when it comes to me rewatching this film now, after, it turns out that the film maybe wasn't received as well as I had personally enjoyed it. I think maybe I went through a period of time where I kind of also maybe thought, I didn't like that movie so much in retrospect. But now having... Because
you're a sheep who just goes along with the crowd.
Actually, I'm weak. I love the Five Nights at Freddy's movie so much. Upon rewatch, I think I stand my ground. I had a good time.
Okay.
I don't, again, not top 10
you're
comic
entitled
book
to your
movie.
opinion, Nathan. Don't let anyone take that away from you.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. Again, not top 10 or anything like that. I don't think I would laud this as one of the great superhero films over lifetime, but it's just, I think it's a solid little watch. I think the film does have quite a bit of heart into it. I like the Justice Society quite a bit. I think that there was franchise potential here. It's just a shame that I think The Rock, by the time this film had came out, and not as a result of this movie, but as a result of just a culmination of years, he's an overexposed personality. And it's just like, yes. It's another Rock film. Great. Okay. Fantastic,
I think this is the epitome of another Rock movie.
Yeah. Oh no, I think there's some ones earlier than this is the epitome of that. I think that there is more. I think this movie has more than just The Rock going for it. But like this isn't just like a San Andreas or the one with the big white kaiju gorilla that I was speaking about earlier on, whose name I forget.
Or the one with Kevin Hart. Or the one with the skyscraper. I can't remember what it's. I think it's just called Skyscraper, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He's got a fake leg in it.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot all about that movie, Kyle. Like that's just another Rock film, right? This is more than that, I think.
No, to be fair,
a culmination of years of just another Rock movie. It's too much.
Nathan, you know what this movie reminds me of? This movie reminds me of The Room.
Tell me why so?
Yes.
God, what a comparison. Please go on.
Watching this movie is an exercise in like just the ultimate epitome of someone's ego and thinking like they're the coolest person on the planet. This movie is The Rock's The Room. It's just like, look how badass and cool I am, The Rock, me.
That is certainly a take. See, I never thought in the Black Adam review we'd be speaking about The Room. I think The Room is an exercise of someone who has no idea about filmmaking wanting to take a genuine swing at being a movie star, but he isn't, and he has no idea how to make one. But
I just mean like the overconfidence of it.
I see. I don't even think it is overconfidence. I think, don't get me wrong, part of the whole hierarchy of DCU is about changing. It's Rock produced, Rock starred, but he didn't write it and he didn't direct it. Yeah, he did produce it though, so he did have I'm not saying for a second he didn't have vast creative control, right? But I would say he had more control over this than say Margot Robbie did over Harley Quinn. I just feel that there is a sincerity to this project, even if there is a bunch of cutthroat business stuff behind it as well,
Oh, there is a sincerity to The Room as well, Nathan.
Yeah, but it's an innocent sincerity. It's like a dim-witted sincerity. I think this is a competent sincerity.
Well, just expanding on that a little bit, because I like to pull up the Rotten Tomatoes score, and we both know that Rotten Tomatoes is bullshit, but this one has by far the most interesting one we've talked about.
Okay, please, I don't know it.
Because, critics score 38%.
Crazy.
Audience score 88%. That is, just looking through the list, that is the biggest, difference between critics and audience of any of them that we've watched so far.
Yeah, and I mean...
Including the Snyder films.
Keep in mind, not a lot of people watched this film, hence it's not profitability, so that's that's the diehards that watch this.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of this was Snyder fan pumped because of Henry Cavill.
Well, that's a theory, right? Because we're post just Snyder cut.
Yeah.
So I think we're into what you described as the terrorist phase now.
Yeah. Yeah. We are. We're like the DCEU is a failed state post Snyder Cut, right? Snyder Cut is its big sort of farewell. Now, I think it's complicated because Walter Hamada, when he took over after, I think it was Aquaman 1, it takes a few years for your projects to come to fruition, you know, because you've got
there's stuff already in production.
Yeah, there's stuff already in
like
production.
that, yeah.
It's going to take a few years to get your thing out there. And I actually think that by the time all of Walter Hamada's overseen products are being released, he's immediately just resigning.
Right, yeah.
And I think that some of the films that he oversaw weren't films that he actually had anything to do with because, again, they were in production before him, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's by the time we get to films like The Flash and Black Adam and Aquaman 2 that's really where we're starting to see Walter Hamada's idea for it. And these are films that, you know, none of them were profitable. But they weren't, well, in my opinion anyway, they weren't awful, you know?
My understanding of this film is that The Rock had wanted to make this film for decades, right?
He was cast in like 2007 or something.
Yeah. So, not that it's been in production for that long, but it's been talked about for that long.
I think originally he was cast as the villain in a Shazam movie.
Well, that would make sense, because Black Adam is a Shazam villain.
This has all gone through many different iterations, you know? The Rock pulling strings to make sure he wasn't referenced in the Shazam movie. They wanted Black Adam to be his own. Like, I see when you mention that, like, this is like the Rock's ego project, and that aspect I get it, right? He's like, I want to change the perception of this character. He isn't a Shazam villain. He is his own hero.
Yeah.
His own anti-hero.
Even though he's literally just Shazam with inverted colours.
Yeah. Well, but it's black and gold. There's no black on Shazam's outfit.
Well, not quite, but you know what?
He's evil Shazam.
He's an evil Shazam. Yes,
way,
he still says Shazam to activate his powers.
Could you mention the Rotten Tomatoes score of Black Adam again for me?
Critics 38%, audience 88%.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Venom Rotten Tomatoes score.
Okay.
Critics 30%, audience is 80%. It's very similar.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the energies are similar.
Yeah. Maybe I just, because listen, for what it's worth, I agree with the critics on Venom. I don't think they're great, but for some reason I agree with the audiences in Black Adam. Like, something just tickles me in the right way.
You're just a DC fanboy shill, that's why.
Well, absolutely, I'm just a shill, yeah, completely. I fall to audience pressure when I think the movie isn't great. Then when I rewatch it and like it, I'm a DC shill. Like, exactly, right? It's a fascinating project, especially given that what happened basically immediately after the film came out.
I remember the marketing push for this movie was ridiculous. Probably like one of the biggest in this entire series. Black Adam was everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, like, famously, you know, the just slightly under double your budget to make a profit. I don't know how much the marketing budget for this film was, but I do know that it was something quite big. It definitely would have had to double the film's budget, I think, to turn a profit. Keep in mind, The Rock also probably gets a lot of free press.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, The Rock as a personality, again, because he's so overexposed, in my opinion, which again is partially why I believe that Black Adam failed. Not completely, but I do think partially. There were so many Rock flicks that were all just the same. San Andreas, the skyscraper one that you reminded me of, that I saw it in the cinema. I forgot all about it till you mentioned it. The Gorilla Kaiju one, Central Intelligence, you know.
Red Notice.
Well, that was after Black Adam, I think.
That's true.
But probably in production before Black Adam had actually released. When you just overexpose a personality, media love yapping about them because they get clicks. Everyone loves The Rock, look at all the things he's in. That doesn't mean people actually like him, it just means people watch his shit, you know? But when it reaches a
People have been saying The Rock for president for a while now.
It's so crazy. When it reaches a critical mass, it's just going to come caving down. And I think because Black Adam, in terms of its marketing, was seen as such a Rock vehicle of him taking over another pre-existing IP, I think that's where people had just had enough. And not to mention, people were already fed up with DC anyway, probably by the time Black Adam came out. But I actually think the end product isn't bad. I really don't. I think this is far better than most Rock vehicles. And I mean that genuinely. I think The Rock makes a bunch of forgettable shite.
I'll concede that, at least, that it's probably better than most Rock vehicles, in that he's trying at least to play a character instead of just playing The Rock.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I don't think The Rock is an amazing actor. No. I think he has a lot of charisma.
Oh yeah.
But he doesn't have a lot of range.
Yeah. He's like different vibrations of smouldering. Now, he did get huge for this. He got jacked, Kyle.
Yes, well, that's kind of his thing.
No, but he got, like, he says that he has never been bigger than when he made Black Adam.
Oh, I mean, when you see him without his shirt on in this movie, he looks like a monster.
Yeah, like, see, like, the costume? There's no padding. That's all just him. And they said that when they have to do the big hero shots, they try to film all that first, because you need to like, dehydrate yourself and everything when you're doing that, because it makes the skin paper thin and like stick to the muscle lining.
Yeah.
So he done all of that super early in production so that he could just be like some sort of sculpture for photography purposes super early on, and for the rest of the film, when he's in action and the physique, still whilst important, isn't what you're looking at, because all the static shots have been pre-shot already. So that he could actually live a life, because he just he became just a Hulk for this. And he looks great. I mean, I would never like to look like that, but like he does it, you know, and it's a fine physical specimen for a superhero to have.
I suppose.
You're not a fan?
I've never been like the whole like dehydrating yourself to look more muscular and all that. It doesn't do anything for me. It's whatever. It's a thing. If superheroes just look like kind of normal guys, I'm fine with that.
You, Kyle, would be interested in The Boys.
I don't know about that, because I watched the first 4 minutes of The Boys and a lady gets vaporized by super speed, and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
It's an accident, Kyle. It was an accident in the streets. I
know, but it's also horrific, so...
Would you like to see the Snyder cut of this film?
What would that even be?
When The Rock vaporizes people, it's in slow motion.
Isn't it already in slow motion when he vaporizes people?
No, at the start, when he comes out of his tomb. I don't think so. It's in slow motion later on when he's wrecking helicopters.
Yeah, and they play
I Want Painted Black.
Painted Black.
Yeah.
And like it actually weaves into the score a little bit beforehand. You're like, is that the tune to Painted Black?
Yeah.
It's like someone watched Westworld.
Well, why don't we talk about our setting, Kyle? We're in Kandak.
Yeah, it's like some sort of
Egyptian Wakanda.
Yeah, what's the word for it? It's like words where you jumble around the letters and it means something else. I think you could get Kandak to spell Wakanda.
It certainly sounds like it anyway. Yeah, we're not linguistic experts to get that.
Like, this is comics. There's like 100 billion secret advanced super cities. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, this isn't super advanced or a secret.
No, well, it is super advanced, but just not the people who live there for some reason.
It's like the colonialists are super advanced. They're just normal people in Egypt.
This movie has a very strange relationship with colonialism.
Yeah, it does. And then there's
Intergang.
But there's also a element only exists here, but somehow
Eternium.
Somehow the people who live here haven't been able to turn it into their Wakanda state.
I found this strange too. Why can Intergang use Eternium, but the people who've lived here for thousands of years have never figured this out?
Apparently Intergang are supposed to be in James Gunn's Superman movie, so...
Okay.
So maybe we're going to see them reinvented and we'll actually know who the hell
they are. Intergang are nothing in this film.
From the very moment that The Rock gets the kid back from Intergang stop being in the film. And they're barely in it to begin with. They are just people that show up on speeder bikes to move the plot along. Yeah,
they're just goods. They're the definition of goods.
This film features no scummy businessman for Intergang that's like the suit. Like
no, they don't have a... Like, I guess Ishmael is their boss, but he doesn't really seem like their boss. He just seems like he's kind of working with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Then when he gets what he wants, instead of Intergang thugs, it's skeleton thugs.
There's a very easy script writing fix for this. I know we're jumping all around, which we always do. But just have the demons at the end, like, possess Intergang members, and then it wraps it all together.
Yeah, that would wrap it. It'd also save the budget. Maybe it would have made a profit. So, what do we think of Kandak, like, visually? It's like a coastal city country? Like, it seems to be in the coast somewhere?
It's fine. I don't know.
Is this in the Middle East, Kyle?
It's supposed to be in Egypt, right?
It's supposed to be a country, but we think it's like a stand-in for Egypt.
It's somewhere between Egypt and the Middle East, I guess.
Yeah, somewhere on that peninsula. Okay.
Yeah. We should point out, like, The Rock is not from anywhere near here. The Rock is Hawaiian, right?
Samoan.
Samoan, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is not the first time he's played someone from the Middle East, though, because he also played the Scorpion King in
His
the
best role.
movies.
His best role.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's his not his first time doing this, but you know what? Listen. Why this is we posed this question when we spoke about Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
When the child says Shazam and becomes
a
superhero, they become an adult version of themselves, and it's recast.
Yeah.
But when an adult says Shazam, they aren't recast.
No, well, the thing with it is it just sort of it brings you to like the peak version of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I imagine if like an old person did it, like an 80-year-old in a retirement home, it would kind of like revert them to a younger age.
Age. Okay. But then also we'll just jack you up because we done put the Rock onto a skinny body. Look.
Yes.
Well, no, see the Rock outside of Shazam mode. He looked perfectly fine.
Yeah, he's not too skinny. He's like this isn't like a Steve Rogers Captain America situation.
Like he looked like an average person, probably better than average person.
Yeah, well, I mean, even when he's like weak, Rock's not going to let himself look actually weak.
No, of course not.
This is a classic. It's in the contract that the Rock can never lose situation. Like, even in the scene in the flashback where him and his wife are being murdered, you don't even see him lose that fight. We cut to when he's already lost, so you don't have to see him lose.
Yeah, I wonder if they filmed it.
I don't think they did. I don't think Rock would let them.
Like, oh, no, you can't see me down my luck. I mean, because it is his choice. No one forces him to give up the Shazam powers. He chooses to give up the Shazam powers.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see.
The first half of this movie is just Black Adam just absolutely crapping all over the Justice Society over and over again.
Let's talk about the Justice Society, Kyle.
I would prefer this movie if it was about the Justice Society, quite frankly. I think they're much more compelling than Black Adam.
I really like the Justice Society in this film. I quite like to see how they fit with like a rogue character that's not part of it's almost like if this was the X-Men and Black Adam is the Wolverine of those.
Yeah.
I mean, you've never seen the Fox X-Men movies, have you?
I've seen the first three.
You've seen the first three.
When I was a kid, I haven't seen them for years.
So you know that like Wolverine isn't really part of the team. He's like kind of just like a rogue trader.
That's usually Wolverine's kind of deal.
Yeah. So that's kind of what it feels like. There's like an X-Men, and then the Rock's like the one with all the promise that they kind of think should be in the team, but he works alone and then reluctantly kind of plays with them.
Well, kind of.
Kind of.
Dr. Fate thinks that. The rest of them just kind of want to put him in jail and throw away the key.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Fate's probably the most interesting character in the film.
I think that's indisputable, yes.
So we've got Hawkman, who's our Bruce Wayne / trying to be Professor X, Tony Stark, Bruce Wayne, all in one.
Yeah.
But then
Hawkman is a very complicated comic book character.
Yeah. This is the first live action debut of him in a film. He was in TV shows.
Yes, he is in like Legends of Tomorrow or whatever, the Arrowverse somewhere.
Yeah. So great, he lives in an X mansion, even though I believe these people are supposed to be based in Florida, but they look like they're in upstate New York.
It's not the Justice League, because we've already used that. It's the Justice Society.
The Justice Society of America, the JSA.
Yes.
And then they have a big basketball court in the backyard where their X-Jet takes off from.
And like Thunderbolts.
Like Thunderbolts, great, love it. And
it's made of nth metal.
Does he live here by himself, Hawkman? Because it's supposed to be like a school for gifted kids, I think. No?
Is it? I thought it was just a big mansion.
Just a big mansion, is it? Maybe I'm just really muddling the X-Men comparisons.
I think you are.
And I think he calls in.
I think it's his mansion that he uses as the headquarters for the GSA.
And he calls in some help because Amanda Waller says we have a mission for you.
Because I guess the GSA work for Amanda Waller.
Maybe they work in like we'll do you give us the intel and we'll do the job.
Clearly, whoever wrote this didn't watch Peacemaker.
I mean, why would they? You know, there's the usurper stuff. You know.
Whereas this movie is very loyal to the DCEU as established.
I think it is very loyal. We have the Shazam wizards in it. We have Amanda Waller. We'll get to her cameo at the end. I think this film, I see people talk about like, you know, the Snyder Cut and the SnyderVerse and everything. If this film had been successful, this is the route to restore it. This was the break point. If Black Adam was successful, I think we would have continued the SnyderVerse, as it were, you know? this is where the reboot happens, you know?
I guess.
Like...
The rock boot.
Money solves everything. Money fixes everything. If this movie had done billion-dollar scale, they would make a Black Adam 2 and we'd see more Henry Cavill and the Snyderverse would continue. That's just how this works, you know? The James Gunn decision, whilst I know all these decisions are made before the public announcement comes, this film was it, you know?
It's one of these things where I feel like corporate people don't understand the characters they're adapting, because obviously most normal people do not know who any of these characters are beyond Batman and Wonder Woman, right? But when you look at Black Adam, you just go, oh, that's a Shazam guy, because he's got the lightning bolt and he has the same powers, and you're like, is this a Shazam thing? And I think a lot of just like casual viewers were probably confused by that. It's like, oh, do I have to watch Shazam first before watching this?
I think this film bends over backwards to pretend that all of this is just unique to this film.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
So I
mean, Jimon Honsu shows up for 5 seconds.
Yeah, but if you hadn't seen Shazam, you're not going to go, oh, is this guy from another film? You know, it's like the film is...
If you're watching the film, yes. If you're just looking at the posters and stuff...
Yeah.
And you see the poster with all these pre-established characters on, you're like, do I need to... Like, this is the homework phase of people thinking we need to do homework before these movies.
Yes, fair enough. But again, you know, because, you know, I'm a shill for the Snyder cut, there is a part of me, Kel, that wishes this film had been more successful. I want to see...
I know.
I want to see what would be coming down the line. So, to speak about what would be coming down the line with these characters, I would like to have seen more Dr. Fate, because that's what we're going to talk about, the JSA, you know? I really like Dr. Fate in this film. I think he's terrific. Pierce Brosnan, what a cast. I would love to have seen more of this version of Doctor, because we don't see Dr. Fate in the movies, you know? Scarily similar to Doctor Strange, frankly.
Well, there's things I like in this movie, and one of them is Dr. Fate. I like Pierce Brosnan. I really like the design. I like how comic booky it is.
It
just like they just lean all into it. Yeah, I mean, just like that big silly helmet, and I think he has a similar power set to Doctor Strange, but they're much more creative with it in this movie.
I'd say, maybe there's a distinction without a difference here, but I'd say Doctor Strange feels magical, and this guy feels very mystical.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. There's a really interesting shot when he's fighting the big bad guy where it kind of like kaleidoscopes through his helmets into other versions, and it's really like weird and abstract.
They get really visually creative in this film. Yeah, absolutely.
They do it with him. Black Adam usually just shoots lightning at people and punches people.
Yeah, and melts them. That's because he's edgy brute man flying around. Wish he wore his cape
so
more.
Edgy.
Wish he wore his cape more.
Yeah, no, the cape completes the look. For most of the movie, he's just flying around in a big black onesie, and it just looks a bit silly.
At the end, when he reclaims his powers at the end of the film, Kel, he gets all golden as well. Like he shines,
yes,
you know?
Well, yeah. No, I got it, yes.
Got the gold booties.
Very good. And the big gold sash, yeah.
Big gold sash.
No, yeah, I really like the relationship between Dr. Fate and Hawkman. That they have this kind of like old slight half mentor, half friendship thing going on. They've clearly been working together for a long time.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that dynamic. I wish the movie was about it.
Yeah, I suppose so, right? Maybe they didn't know how to flesh it out enough. Like, they ran out of material and ideas for it, and they're like, well, let's just do an hour and a half of filler with The Rock, you know?
Yeah. On the other hand, I like Cyclone and Atom Smasher, but they have nothing to do in this movie at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got some stuff in my notes about them, right? I was like, this is like not their first rodeo, but this could be their first time working with the JSA. And this is like their big promo. This is like Spider-Man joining the Avengers, you know?
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
They try to make Atom Smasher like a hybrid of Tom Holland Spider-Man and Ant-Man. They try to give him like the because they've even got Mr. Happy Days man, what's his name?
Henry Winkler.
Yes. He's the uncle, like how Michael Douglas is the old Ant-Man in Marvel, right?
Yes.
It's so apparent that, again, you know, DC famously and Marvel, they always would just joust and steal ideas from each other, right? So I'm not saying that, like, oh, this is just redundant. I know this is the source material, which is a rip-off of everything.
Marvel has about 16 Supermen running around in it. None of them have made it into the movies yet, but there's a whole bunch of Supermen
exactly,
in the Marvel's universe.
Exactly. I really enjoy, so I think they have good chemistry together. There's a good sense.
I ship it.
Yeah, terrific, right? I think that there is potential for these guys here. They're a bit of levity. I don't think the film's any worse off for their inclusion, even though they don't have much to do in it.
No, I like the visualization of Cyclone's powers, this weird sort of like colourful, like,
it's almost like she's doing a ballet dance through the wind.
I think it looks kind of neat. It never does anything in the movie, but it looks kind of neat.
It looks kind of neat. Yeah, she uses it for shock and awe against Black Adam, you know?
She shoots a bunch of metal poles at him, like that's going to do anything.
None of them, she's not worried at all about hitting Dr. Fate at all.
No.
I like when they're all running towards Black Adam to hold him down, well, Dr. Fate's already holding him down. And whilst everyone's running at him, she's firing a million steel poles at them as well. Like, you're going to hit one of your teammates. You're going to get someone injured. But yet, no, like, sometimes in a film where you've got characters that have nothing to do, you're like, come on, we don't have time for this. We need to get back to the stuff here. Like, you guys have nothing to do. What are you doing here? Dislike you. I don't feel like that with Atom Smasher and Cyclone. I think they're really good.
I'm watching them and I'm like, I wish you guys had more to do. I'd rather be spending time with you than skateboard kids.
Yeah, well, do we want to talk about arguably one of the co-protagonists of the movie, Kyle?
Skateboard kids? Sure. He starts the movie with the opening narration.
Yeah, he does, yeah. By the way, I want to say the Ancient King looks like Sacha Baron Cohen character.
He really does. I don't know. It's like he doesn't look threatening at all. He looks like he's about to break out into like a TikTok dance or something.
He looks like Sacha Baron Cohen in The Dictator. The skateboard kid's called Amon, by the way.
Yes. He's just Freddy from Shazam. He's literally the same character, but just not quite as likeable, and Freddy already wasn't that likeable.
Yeah, it's like they just took the Shazam story and were like, right, let's rework it and make it edgy, but we'll keep the bits we like, you know?
Yeah, they have a conversation where it's like, we gotta get you on lunchboxes and all that, and it's exactly the same as the conversation in Shazam.
Yeah, it's the same moment.
Except Shazam actually does that where he actually just goes out into the street and starts hustling people for money.
Yep. But Freddy's also more unlikable than Amon, I think. Freddy becomes an ass.
He's also more interesting than Amon, though. Amon is so generic.
Yeah. I guarantee I'm not going to remember Amon's name later on. Freddie Freeman, though, is a name I'll remember.
Yeah. He's just... like, he's got the skateboard, he's a big superhero fan, he has an escape route, he's supposed to be like this cool kid that the kids watching in the audience, they can go like, I want to be like this kid. Yeah, not like...
the Shia of their generation, Kyle.
Yeah. And it's just the most flat version of the trope imaginable. There's nothing beyond it to him.
Absolutely. And I think that's also probably because the film wants to not focus on him. The same way like the film doesn't focus on Freddy, you know, the film focuses, for Shazam, focuses on Billy, right? Whereas they want this kid to be the Billy and the Freddy combined into one, but not the superpowered person. And then they want to give a lot of screen time to the Lara Croft element, who's his mother, you know? I think there's like not enough screen time for him. Because I actually think his mother's more interesting than he is.
I mean, yes.
Not that she has much to do either. No,
after she does the Tomb Raider bit, she doesn't really do much anymore in the movie, other than just sort of stand around and go, actually, it's good that Black Adam kills people.
But I trust her to have more agency than the kid. Yeah,
I guess. You should maybe just cut them up and have it be the kid and the goofy uncle.
I love Kareem. The electrician drives around in the van. He's just singing, "Baby, come back." Yeah, terrific. Absolutely.
Again, he's a very like generic version of like the wacky sidekick trope.
I think he's better than generic. Actually, I think he's better than most of the wacky sidekick characters. I have little patience for them usually. He just works for me. Maybe because he's subtle enough. You know, I don't think he's over the top. I enjoy his bits with Dr. Fate, where he's like, "Am I going to die, Doc?" And he's like, "I'm not that kind of doctor, but I can see the future, and this isn't how you die. Stay away from electricity." And he's like, "Well, I'm an electrician." And then when he's fighting the skeletons at the end, he's like, "It's okay, I die from electricity." Good stuff. I think it's just all good bits, right? I just think he rides that line perfectly, and I think that's quite a difficult line to ride, actually, because you can so easily become really annoying, and I think he's just perfect.
Okay, he never becomes annoying. I'll give you that.
Whereas I think a lot of those comedy side bits do. I think that if this movie had come out 10 years ago, the mum would have been a love interest of Black Adam.
It seems like they're going in that direction because, like, part of the movie is... supposed to be a reveal, but you can predict it 5 seconds into the movie that the hero at the start, the kid in the mines, is, oh, that's Black Adam, but no, it's actually his dad. And there's like this ridiculous shot where they don't show his dad's face. And you're like, I wonder who that man with a very distinct silhouetted face could be.
Yeah, and you can see it side on, like it's not even in shadow that much, like you can tell it's The Rock.
No, but then the movie still wants this to be a twist reveal later.
It wants both. It wants you to know that that's The Rock back in ancient times, but also that that's not the hero of the film. Okay.
Yeah, but the point of that is that he kind of sees his own son in him on, is like, what's going on there? They don't really do much with that other than
I think
like
they do nothing with it.
Yeah, he accidentally hurts him on at the end and is like, I'm not responsible enough to use my powers, blah 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 blah. That whole scene also.
I wouldn't even say he
silly.
hurts him. It's just Aemon gets hurt in his rescue attempt, which is successful.
No, he says it. He says it was me.
Well, no, I know he blames himself. But like, why? You got him back, and he was relatively unharmed. He'll be fine, you know.
That entire sequence is so contrived because they have this big immortal shield because Black Adam, he can't destroy Eternium. This is like his kryptonite.
For some reason.
For some reason.
And the Wizards could have picked anyone from anywhere in the world to be Black Adam, and they happen to pick someone from the same region that is the only place on Earth that houses an element that would weaken him. Very convenient.
It's fate, whatever.
It's Dr. Fate.
It's Dr. Fate. They didn't pick him either. They picked his son. But, you know.
Yeah, but they picked a son from a region in the world where the one thing that would harm him is in the same place that he operates in, you know?
Do you remember when that old man finds Eternium in the mines and everyone's going to mug him because whoever gets the Eternium is going to be rewarded, and then a small boy steps in front of them and says no, and then they all stop?
Yeah, they all listen to the child because he's young and innocent. Yeah, I remember that, but I clapped.
And then the most evil guard in the world is like, no, you will not get a reward, I'll just kill you.
Your king thanks you for your service. Stab.
Yeah.
And then that's when The Rock steps in and says, no, don't hurt the boy, though. The boy is foolish. The boy knows not.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know it's The Rock because his face is in shadow.
And then he holds up his hands in a triangle, and that means things, I guess.
It's their version of Wakanda Forever, Kyle. That's what that is.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah. Instead of crossing your arms onto your corresponding shoulders, you go
and
triangle in the sky.
Even though modern Kandak clearly has not much to do with this culture, they all still know what that means.
I quite enjoy the hybrid of the old city and the new city bits. Not that there's any super advanced areas, but like there's a roundabout and there's just in the middle of it a plinth of this giant statue's hand that's just fisted. I just quite like that. I get the sense of ancientness to the area. You know, there's some great shots of Black Adam flying around some ancient statues.
I just feel like that.
You know.
That ancient castle or temple or whatever that they always sit in, that would just be an absolute tourist trap, surely.
It probably is, but maybe because Intergang's there, they're like shut the borders. You know,
it does seem to have some renovations going on in it, I guess.
Yeah, there's like lots of checkpoints around the place. Like, it's probably not a tourist-friendly place when Intergang's kicking around.
Intergang are like, they're competent enough to rule this nation, but also incompetent enough to not be able to catch a small boy on a skateboard.
One of my first notes is that I love how easy this temple is to find for any funded group that actually is looking for it. This place isn't... It's just out in the desert.
It's open to the sky.
Yeah, it's open to the sky. You don't need to like move some hidden secret door wall. This is just a hole in a cave that you walk into. And if there was any actual well-funded outfit that had this explicit objective of looking for this place, as Interganger, they would find it no bother. Yeah, you know?
Ishmael doesn't really need her help at all to find this place.
Yeah, he's just there for the twist.
Uh-huh.
For the inside.
Did you like that they have like Mustache Man to set up as like a red herring villain to just die immediately?
Yeah, that was very clever. Very, very witty of the film.
The real sticking point for me is Black Adam on this movie. I just do not think he's a likeable or relatable or enjoyable protagonist to watch.
I mean, I like him well enough. I think it's fun to see him fight people because I know he's probably going to be fine. And also, I kind of enjoy seeing the Justice Society trying to rein in this person that just doesn't care for typical etiquette rules.
I find that whole idea so half-baked. The whole, like, heroes don't kill people, well, I do. By the way, little milestone for the podcast, that's the last line from our intro that's going to be in one of these movies.
Oh, okay. Very good, Kyle. See, that's a little bit of note taking there that I've never bothered to look into. Oh, so that's it? Is that the intro done now?
Yeah, there's the last 4 movies, they don't have any lines, mainly because I haven't watched them and I don't know the iconic lines. But
You're going to add them, just going to make the intro progressively longer for the remainder of each film.
yeah, no, not going to do
no, we're not going to do that. What? I just quite enjoy seeing the JSA trying to rope in this person that clearly doesn't care, you know?
I guess. I enjoy I enjoy the Justice Society aspect of that more than the Black Adam aspect of it.
Yeah, I could say that Black Adam is just like the MacGuffin that allows the JSA to have that conflict, you know?
There's there's a bunch of stuff with Black Adam where I don't understand it. Like, the first one is, like, The Rock going, I'm not going to do an accent, so he just speaks with an American accent.
Whatever.
With no explanation why whatsoever. He's an Egyptian man from ancient Egypt with no contact with English whatsoever, but he can speak English just fine. Whatever.
It's in the movie, whatever. It's in the movie,
right.
Don't worry about it.
That kind of thing I can ignore. The more, Amon starts talking to him about, like, oh, you need a catchphrase and all this. And for some reason, Black Adam goes along with it, even though he doesn't care. Why does he try it at all? I don't understand what his... It's just for quips. It's for funny bits in the movie, but it doesn't add anything to the character or really make sense within the character.
I would say, Kel, that I enjoy that quip. I like it when he doesn't quite get the catchphrases and he says it after he kills people, and then he says, try saying it before you kill them. And then there's a bit where he throws a guy off the speeder bike and he tries to say the catchphrase really quickly before the guy dies from hitting the ground. Tell them the man in black sent you. Listen, you might think it makes no sense for him to actually want to play along with this game, but it's just funny, you know. And I can kind of believe that maybe Black Adam would feel a need to try and update himself for modern times. He's like, oh, I guess if this is what the people of today do, and he just accepts. Because I don't imagine back when he lived in ancient times, he was some other kind of freak that didn't get on with societal norms. He is a person, you know?
Well, the weird part of that too is his costume doesn't look like an ancient version of the costume. It just looks like a modern day superhero costume.
Well, it looks like it comes from the Shazam Wizard vault, you know? Which maybe that is timeless. Yeah. Maybe if Shazam, Zachary Levi, if he existed in ancient times, he would still look as he does in the Shazam movies.
Well, I mean, we see him in ancient times, though, and it's like a different version of it. It's like the lightning bolt's just on a big necklace, and it's all
isn't that how he powers up? Because see, when he goes to kill the king, he's in full black one-piece attire.
That's true. It kind of like forms around him, like Thor's armor in one of those movies nanotech, where that happens.
Yeah. Shazam Wizard nanotech.
Back to the whole heroes don't kill people thing, because we've had this discussion many times in the podcast already around Batman. And as we know, I'm on Team Batman shouldn't kill people.
I'm on Team Batman can do either or, depending on what story the film
I want to specify that the whole not killing people thing, I think, is very specific to Batman.
Yeah.
In general, I'm fine with superheroes killing people.
Yeah, in Marvel, they're all mass murderers, so you gotta be...
Well, that's what I was going to say, because this movie has, like... It assumes that it's common wisdom that superheroes don't kill people, but looking at the broader landscape of movies, that's not true at all.
I think it's something that DC tried to play true to.
I don't think that's true.
I think it is. Superman was the result of many deaths in Metropolis that fateful day, right? And Batman
he snaps Zod's neck. It was a whole thing.
But Wonder Woman isn't an explicit murderer. I don't think Shazam is. I don't think Aquaman
yes, she is. She runs the Lindor through with a sword.
It's the First World War. It's 100 years of past modern day, you know? You didn't kill people in modern day.
I mean, doesn't she?
I can't think of instances. Well, she
uses her bracers to deflect bullets back at people.
Does she? I thought she just made the bullets drop to the ground. Does that kill all of them?
I'm pretty sure when she's like deflecting all those bullets, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Wonder Woman kills. She has a sword. Of course, she kills people.
Maybe I'm just thinking of her in 1984, where she's a girly pop.
Yeah, where she shoves girls into big teddy bears. Yeah.
But generally, despite me being fine with the trope of superheroes killing people, maybe can understand Hawkman's perspective on it. Maybe his code of ethics, his team doesn't kill people.
See, I think this movie goes out of its way to paint him like a naive idiot.
Do you? I think he seems quite like he's trying his best under really stressful circumstances.
No, but like, there's like some really on the nose parts where like he saves a couple guys from falling, and then the people around him boo because they didn't want them to save the guy.
Well, I think
and
that's the film weaving in the imperialist versus the natives kind of commentary. They're like, we don't want you here. We enjoy Black Adam, and he's like, yeah, but he's killing everyone. He's like, yeah, well, look what they've done to us. Like. Yeah,
that's him being painted as an idiot.
Wait, I think it's more painting the perspective of Western peacekeepers coming into Middle East. That's the commentary. Yes, it might be at that character's expense, I guess, but it could be a learning moment for him.
Well, it is, because by the end of the movie, he's learned to be okay with murdering demons. So
well, Kyle, do you want to talk about the demon?
Sabak,
which is my favorite game from Star Wars.
Absolutely. I wonder if it'll be in Star Wars Outlaws.
With any luck, Kyle, we'll get a crown, and on top of that crown, Kyle, in order to summon the powers of Sabak, you must say the phrase Sabak, quite like how Black Adam has to say Shazam to get his powers, or any of the Shazam family.
I believe, like Black Adam, Sabak is usually a Shazam villain.
Well, Kyle, this is like poetry, but shite. It means...
Thank you.
Thank you, I had to get that in there. It means absolutely just... They coast over it, Kyle, the fact that he summons his powers the same way Shazam does. I feel like in the script they thought that was going to be a bigger point, but then in the final product it meant nothing.
No, well, this twist, like, it undermines anything to do with, like, the colonialist stuff you're talking about, because it's just a big demon army. There's a point I noted down specifically, so Amon, he rallies the people of Kandak against the demon army. And one of them, let me scroll down all of my notes here, Jesus Christ, I have so many notes. One of them, they're charging towards this demon army, and they're like, free Kandak! And I'm like, yeah, from demons. But you're not being imprisoned by the demons, you're being imprisoned by Intergang, who are gone from this movie.
Yeah.
This isn't for free Kandak, this is to stop a demon invasion.
I also have my notes
total non sequitur.
People rising up to fight Intergang would have been more impactful than skeletons. Again, Intergang and the skeletons serve the same boss, but it's just not.
The skeletons look like Diablo villains too.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. It's like when you're fighting Scarecrow in Batman Arkham Asylum, and he summons scarecrows.
He summons little skeleton guys to fight you, yeah.
Yeah, I said scarecrows, he summons skeletons, yeah, exactly. And they just fall down with, like, a gust of wind. They mean nothing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what these guys are a bit like.
Meanwhile, just Sabak himself is like Black Adam in that he's just, like, insanely overpowered.
Yeah, and he's Mephisto, Kyle. He looks like Mephisto.
He is Mephisto, yes. I mean, I don't hate the design of him himself. I kind of like the upside down, like, star of... whatever star that is.
Yeah,
I can't remember which one that is.
Yeah, like the pentagram thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like a very traditional demon look, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, I think they hid him from the marketing, if memory serves. Like, it seemed like the marketing conflict was around JSA and Black Adam. We should, before we get kind of too much into the end of the film, I want to mention that when he gives up his powers, he goes to a Task Force X black site.
Yes. In the Arctic.
In the Arctic. They should have just called it the Suicide Squad Black Site, and everyone would have went, because no one, if you go Task Force X, that sounds so generic, what the hell is that?
And James Gunn shoving his wife in there again.
He had nothing to do with this film, completely uncredited, but he put his wife in this project, yeah. Harcourt shows up. Little nice cameo from Harcourt.
I mean, it is. It doesn't make any sense why she'd be here. But sure, she runs this prison, I guess.
I don't think she runs it. I think she's just like the person that's assigned to take in this new arrival,
I guess. She has like a weird like black trench coat thing going on.
Aesthetically in tune with the rest of that facility. That's all like, it all looks like a Section 31 starship. All reflective black paneling everywhere, If Michelle Yeoh showed up there, I wouldn't have flinched.
Everyone's walking around in like thigh-high water for some reason.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just part of what you got to do. It's special water that like numbs superpowers. There's lots of different sized cages in there. I wonder who else is there.
Yeah, it's like just a big super prison.
They would have revisited that in future, I bet.
Potentially,
I guarantee if this has been a success, this is their version of like the Raft from Marvel, you know. Except that arguably I think more interesting than the Raft, because the Raft never shows you anything outside the single set that they kept the Civil War belligerents in. But you see like lots of different holding cells for different sizes and types of people in this film.
Yeah, so super evil prisons are usually quite fun.
Yeah, I'd be a fan of going to it. Much more interesting than Arkham.
You know, Arkham could be fun.
Arkham can be fun, yeah, but we know everyone that lives there, you know? We literally know everyone.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, there's a part I want to go back to talking about the villain, which is the part where Black Adam harms Amon and gives up his powers, because that scene is nonsense. First of all, they play Kanye West Power during it.
They do play Power for very brief seconds. It's not even there for a minute.
The music choices in this movie are so on the nose and so funny.
Yeah, they are. They're very on the nose.
There's that. There's Painted Black, because, you know, he's Black Adam.
The first song is I can't remember the name of the song, but it's you know, despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage, and it's like really grungy, and it's like the kid riding around through the checkpoints on a skateboard, and they're like, wait in the queue, you've got wheels, you can't just walk through.
And then there's a bit where they do like a Western homage for a minute. Yeah,
at the bottom of the stairs in the marketplace, where he's going for his gun and Black.
Yeah, even though he has super speed, so it's just pointless.
Yeah, it's like a stupid bit. It's a very stupid bit. I don't even think Black Adam knows he's in a standoff. He's just waiting to see what the other guy does.
But anyway, there's that point where Ishmael, he has him on behind a shield, and he's like, give me the crown. We didn't mention the crown. There's an evil crown. It's made of Eternium.
The crown of Sabak.
Yeah, it looks like a prop from Skyrim.
Yeah, he finds it by punching the kid's dresser and finds it in his escape hatch.
Yeah, because Eternium, it does hurt him a bit, but not that much. It just kind of makes him glow over the winds, but he can fix that up quite quickly.
It can penetrate his skin, a bit like how Kryptonite Spear, like Batman can use it to cut Superman's skin. I think that's what Eternium can do.
Yeah. But obviously he can never actually lose. The one point where he gets injured in this movie is when he catches a rocket, and it like kind of hurts him a bit, and he falls down and he passes out for a while, and then he gets back up and just heals himself up just fine.
He can only die heroically, or be hurt heroically.
But anyway, sorry, keep guessing. So, it's got bad guy, he has the kid behind the shields. He drops the shield to let the mum in for a second to get the crown. Now, we learn later that you can only get the powers of Sabak by dying and going to hell, right? So his plan there was to, like, drop the shields, put the crown on before Black Adam got there, just so that it would still work, and just hope that all worked out. Why didn't he just put the crown on and shoot himself in the head?
Do you need to die wearing the crown in order to go to hell?
Well, he isn't wearing it, he's holding it, I guess.
You need to die whilst in contact with the crown, you know?
I guess so.
Is this just confirming that there's an afterlife in DCEU, and that if you go to hell, anyone can just claim the powers of Sabak, or do you need to be specifically holding the crown of Sabak, you know?
I think he needs to be holding the crown, but my point is, why did he trick Black Adam into killing him? Why didn't he just take a gun and shoot himself in the head?
As previously mentioned, Kel, we're in the terrorist era of DC. And he just wanted a little bit of chaos before he went. You know?
Did he want Black Adam to accidentally hurt him on? Was that part of his plan, so that Black Adam would feel guilty and give up his powers? Give up his powers.
So when he came back as Sabak, no one could stop him because he has tricked Black Adam to giving up his powers. Exactly.
This is the other problem with an established universe, because when Dr. Fate's like, there's only one person who can stop him now, I'm like, yeah, Superman. Just call it Superman.
The Justice League. There's a lot of passive-aggressive hits at the Justice League in this film.
Oh my god, it's amazing. There's a fight scene between Hawkman and Black Adam in Amon's bedroom where they're just beat the shit out of every single other member of the DC
Aquaman
universe.
Poster, Flash poster, fist right through the wall. The only one that you just see rumbled but never taken down is Batman. You see a Batman action figure kind of rumble across the ground.
Yes.
But it never, I'm convinced of it, it's because Warner Brothers are super protective of Batman. You can't see Batman be disrespected. You can see Superman's face singed off, but you can't disrespect Batman.
Well, that's a little homage to the end of Shazam, where you don't see Superman's face, you know?
Ah, you see, because who is Superman? Who's to say? Yeah, who's to say? Because, you know, we're never going to see Superman again, that's true. Throughout this movie, Kyle, Dr. Fate has had visions of the end. And the fake out is we think that it's Hawkman's death, right? And it turns out it was actually, there's a way to stop that, and it's if he sacrifices himself. And he knows...
Yeah, it's like Doctor Strange in Infinity War.
He knows he's on the right path to sacrificing himself, where he is doing actions, and for the first time in his life, he can no longer see the future. And he thinks it's magical and wonderful.
It's a genuinely good scene that would be great in a better movie.
Yeah. I get Dr. Fate's great. He's so drippy. Everyone, I think the JSA are so drippy. They have good drip. They
really are. The first time we see Hawkman, he's in this like fantastic like accented robe.
Yep.
And he's like, wow, he's looking swick.
Yeah, I love when Dr. Fate, when they're in the jet post first encounter, or he's in his gold and black house coat and he's got the neckerchief and the shirt on under it. If this was 15 years ago, he would be having a big cigar. He'd be having a big smoke there.
I will say though, he constantly leaves his helmet just out in the open, and they establish that if anyone but him touches that helmet, they go insane. And he's just like not doing it; he's just leaving it out on the desk.
It's because he knows, because like no one's going to steal it, because it's bad for them if they touch it. He doesn't, he can leave.
Yeah,
it.
but
you think he's inconsiderate, Kyle? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he didn't tell anyone what will happen if you touch it. Because Atom Smasher goes to touch it. By the way. He's called Atom Smasher, but because they all have American accents, they all call him Adam Smasher.
Yeah.
Which is just quite funny, because they're fighting Black Adam.
Another bit, Kyle, in this film laced with bits.
They don't ever make that bit, but I do think it's quite funny.
Yeah. I mean, so when he goes, Dr. Fate decides to make this sacrifice, I think it's a great action sequence, actually, of Dr. Fate fighting Sabak, and he's, like, speaking. He's, like, monologuing as he's fighting. And then he psychic projects himself to Black Adam and then uses his powers at long distance to be like, I will release you from this prison, you need to come back in the powers. And he says, you have the power to be the world's destroyer, but you can also be its saviour. And I said, okay, Pa Kent from Man of Steel 2013. It's a very, I've been your mentor, even though he hasn't really been. But I actually think, despite, as a one-off movie, Kyle, this film, I think killing Dr. Fate, perfectly fine choice, right? It gives us some emotional weight to the end, right? But if this was a franchise, as they wanted it to be when they made the damn thing, killing off Dr. Fate, I think, is a big misstep, because I really think there's more to that relationship you could flesh out in a future movie, considering this film doesn't do a great job of fleshing everything out here, but I can just see all that potential, I want to see...
Well, this is comic books. There's a million ways he could come back again.
Yeah, the helmet sort of flickers off into the abyss and then someone else finds it, and then, Dr. Fate just is reborn, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, there is a million ways could have brought him back. But I just, Dr. Fate, simply tremendous. Thank you. Thank you very much, Pierce Brosnan, for doing this. This is your best work since James Bond and Mamma Mia.
Nothing will ever top Mamma Mia.
Top Mamma Mia. Not even Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, Kyle.
No.
No.
I've never watched that one, but I can already tell you no.
Okay. But yeah, right, that's simply stupendous. And everyone sort of, he puts up like a gold shield around the ancient castle of the king whilst he's doing this so no one else can get hurt. Even though I actually think he done such a good job that anyone else could have came in and assisted him and probably helped him.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, the movie kind of does the Justice League thing, where like the Justice Society are basically worthless against Sabak.
Yeah.
But I reckon if they all actually work together, they could probably do it. He doesn't seem that tough.
Oh, no, I completely agree with you. Sabak was perfectly competent as a villain, but I don't think he is beyond the might of the JSA, because especially, I think actually Dr. Fate does a lot of heavy lifting in this. I think that Hawkman definitely could have cut him in half like Black Adam does,
Yes. Black Adam doesn't cut him in half. Black Adam pulls him in half.
Pulls him in half, yeah, he does.
He's not a very engaging villain.
No, he's bleh, man. He's bleh, man.
He wants to take over the world with the demon army. It's very complicated stuff.
I've never seen that done before in a film. What happens?
I do want to say though, when they're flying up in the GSA jet or whatever, there's just a line I love, which is readout says it's a demon. So they have a setting on their scanners for demons.
That means demons are a common occurrence in the GSA's line of work.
Yeah, I guess it does.
I suppose when you've got someone like Dr. Fate in your team, you probably would expect demons. I like when he summons the big Dr. Fate symbol from the sky and crashes it down on Black Adam during that fight. I think it's quite visually fun. Uh-huh. Everything's like gold tinted glass that he just throws around. It's fun.
He he does like a little vision thing for Black Adam and shows him the old Kandak.
Yeah, absolutely he does. Absolutely, yeah. Very Doctor Strange in that moment, especially.
Yes.
So we'll just jump to the end, I guess. The day is won. Black Adam shows up because Dr. Fate freed him from his prison.
Yeah, he swims through Arctic water without his powers, and he's just fine.
He's able to rip off the face thing that goes down his throat that stops him talking.
Mm-hmm.
As a regular man, he can fight Task Force X, prison guardsmen, Suicide
Yeah, because
Squad
he's the Rock and he's that badass.
Yeah, there's a cutscene where he actually punches Harcourt in the face. The Rock would never want to be perceived as a woman beater.
No.
So he shows up to the fight. His suit is all, he's now black and gold, and it's all clean and grey. He's got his big gold booties on. It's grey. He's got his cape back. He's got the gold trims. Mm-hmm. And it's a fairly quick fight because the film's got to wrap up, but it's okay, And then...
I mean, Hawkman does his best to help out, I guess.
Yeah, because he picks up Dr. Fate's helmet, doesn't go crazy, and he says that his friend...
Cyclone and Atom Smashers just sort of stand there.
Yeah, they just sort of stand.
Or I guess they're like out fighting the demons or something.
Or something, yeah, I would go with or something. Yeah, and then we have this, tremendous crescendo where, everyone's celebrating. The day is won, the skeletons are dead, everyone's, doing the free Kandak sign.
Yeah, Intergang, I guess, are also dead.
Intergang are also dead,
somewhere.
Yeah, they ran out of funding, they're pulling out. And Black Adam is sitting in the temple, or standing in the temple, and they're like, you could lead them, you could. And he sits in the throne, because we need that comic.
Which I'm pretty sure is what he does in the comics.
We need that comic book shot, and then no, because I'm the Rock,
yes.
and I believe in democracy. We do the picture, we do the poster, he sits on it. There's a Fortnite emote of it, Kyle.
Of course there is, yes.
And then he destroys it, because the people should lead, good for him, right?
It's like the end of Game of Thrones.
It's like the end of Game of Thrones, yeah. And I clapped. So, that's the end of the film. What is the last shot before the post-credits? Where did we go? It's just, I just remember that throne room and the JSA leave, and it's just, they're like, maybe we'll see you around, and then Atom Smasher's like, we could maybe hang out again, and then The Rock's like, don't push it. It's like, okay.
I think it's just Black Adam kind of goes up and flies away, and that's the end of the movie.
No, he says Teth Adams seems a bit outdated, Kyle.
Oh, yes, so what should we call you? Yeah. And then it drops the name.
Fantastic,
yeah, it's like
the Fantastic
Four.
Yeah. Like, say that again. What was that? The Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's Teth Adams a bit dated. Yeah, we should come up with a new thing. Oh, I have an idea. Black Adam title card. So, we cut to the nighttime, Kyle, in our post-credit scene. And we get a Uber Eats delivery drone.
One of Amazon's new drones.
One of Amazon's new killer predator drones. But it's just here with
Bezos money's in there.
It's just here with the hologram of Amanda Waller. It's live though, there's a camera on it. I wonder if Black Adam's hologrammed his way into
Amanda Waller back to her ways of talking to everyone on iPads.
Yeah. We're technically sound women, so she is. It's like, if you don't want to stay in my prison, fine. Kandak is your prison. I continue to think she's just a tremendous character. I love her. No faffing about. I love that she was in this film. She shows up in the DCU quite a bit, even though it feels like she's always a side character. Probably not as much as Batman is.
Well, she's supposed to be like this, the DCU's
Nick Fury,
basically.
But evil.
Yeah, but sinister. Yes. To be fair, in the comics, I think Nick Fury usually is more sinister. In the movies, he's mostly a hero.
Yeah. So he says that, no one can hold me. Like, if you're saying Kandak is my prison, like, fine, but what are you going to do if I leave? You can't stop me. It's like, well, I can call out, nothing of this world can kill me. And she's like, well, I can call favours not of this world to stop you. It's like, well, you're going to need to send them all. He destroys the drone.
Then, like a movie would do, the person who shows up is Shazam and the Shazam family, because they are, of course, the classic Black Adam antagonists, and they are the next movie coming out. So it would make perfect sense for them to show up in this movie at the end.
They would be so goofy, because they're a bunch of kids. And they're also so brightly coloured,
But Black Adam is literally one of them!
He is literally one of them. It would make narrative sense. But I think tonally the vibes would be so off because those movies are so different.
It'd be very funny to reveal that they're working for Amanda Waller. I'll grant you that, but
really child labour.
What I mean generally is that the end of this movie should have teased Shazam, because to me, okay, it's Superman. We already said it's Superman, right? But
I want to talk through it though.
it's such an ego-driven choice. It's like, no, I'm The Rock. I don't fight silly Zachary Levi. I fight Superman.
What we should also point out is this movie was also co-produced by The Rock's ex-wife, Danny Garcia, who is Henry Cavill's manager.
Yes, we've talked about this before. Yes.
And this is what they had. They just had, because Henry Cavill was maybe out as Superman, he wasn't doing cameos. There was a whole bunch of like hubbub about him. Maybe he would only do like a Superman 2, but they kind of weren't sure how they were going to make that. And he was kind of done with the role, about how Ben Affleck was done with the role, but never quite left, you know? But
I assume they gave him a huge pile of money.
Well, it's also because Henry Cavill needs his career to work. His manager was like, because The Rock is his big cheerleader in the industry, basically.
That's true, okay.
And he's like, you know, we just, listen, I'm your manager, and here's my ex-husband, The Rock, doing this big film. We're going to get you some work here. We'll get you back in DC in a big shape, because the hierarchy of the DCEU is about to change, Henry Cavill. You're going to do this role. You're going to do this for us, right? And he's like, right, okay, fine, I'll do this cameo, you know? Because it's all business, you know? And they swell the John Williams theme, and he comes out of this, but it's been a while since anyone made the Earth this nervous. Kel, which is him, Kel, it's him, it's 2013, you know? It's 10 years on, and we haven't left Man of Steel. And he comes out of the shadows, and it's not deep fake. There's no mustache gate, you know. He looks great. He looks terrific. Kel, he's back in the colour suit, Kel, and he's like the hero. He is. We're not doing the Dark Justice League stuff. He's Superman, you know. And this is Black Adam, and then we cut, and then, you know, Superman will return. No, he won't.
Well, I remember when this came out, and all the news articles like Superman is back, and then like, what was it, 2 months later, it was like Henry Cavill's out again.
Yeah, so Henry Cavill released a statement, right? He put out a video and was like, yo, hello, I'm back as Superman. I love Superman so much, and I can't wait to get back to work. Like, it's just such a great part of my life. I love doing this. And then, like, it wasn't even 2 months. It was like 3 weeks later. The film was not, you know, financially struggling and stuff. And then...
Yeah, it came out that they're just rebooting the whole thing.
Yeah, and then he put out another statement, and it was a written statement. He was like, listen, the studio told me to put out that video. I didn't really want to, but they said it would be part of the marketing for the film, and it would get everyone really hyped up for your return. I kind of thought it was going to be a bit of a mistake to release it, you know, because it's just a cameo, you know, it'd be a surprise for the fans. But it feels like it set expectations for something that actually nothing was signed off on. I hadn't signed any contracts for future obligations. Now, what should be noted, he filmed more than the Black Adam cameo.
Did he?
He filmed stuff for The Flash? And I think one other project. I think there was 3 things. What are the film slates after this?
Let's see. We've got Shazam 2, Flash, Blue Beetle, and then Aquaman 2.
Filmed something for something else after that wasn't The Flash. I can't...
Would have been maybe Shazam 2, because he was in the first one.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. But then James Gunn had everything cut, right? James Gunn was like, we're not setting expectations, because it would have just been a cameo in The Flash. I know there's some other superhero cameos in that film, but they're smaller scale. And also Henry Cavill was the big contentious thing, you know? And yes, he did film more than just this. It was like a day of filming for 3 different projects. But when they bring Stan Lee in for a bunch of things, you know, back in the day. But yeah, so I think Henry Cavill was specifically burned by this because he probably found it as a bit of personal embarrassment doing this, to be like, hey, I'm back, and then, no, you're not. Whereas at least for The Rock, where he was like hyping up as the hierarchy of DC is about to change, at least he got to do one full big film. Like, unless you're someone that's into the industry, you don't need to look at the Black Adam movies anything more than that one and done thing. But that cameo, man, it's a big kind of, oh look, I'm coming back, I'm doing more. No, you're not. So I know this is going to be a longer episode, Kel, but do you want to briefly maybe address the hierarchy thing?
I feel like we've covered most of it already, right? Like, it was just a big mess.
Yeah, The Rock really did think he was going to take those DC reins. He thought he was going to put everything... He wanted to be like the Robert Downey Jr. He wanted this to be his legacy, really. You know?
He wanted Black Adam to be the centre of a new phase of the DCEU.
Which, listen, see, from a business perspective, I can kind of see it. It's unconventional. So is making Iron Man the head of it all, right? It's just...
It feels like a very corporate decision. They're like, well, The Rock is famous and popular, so he's probably going to be a good name draw for this universe.
But I don't think it was their decision to try and make the Black Adam the head of this new universe. I think it was The Rock that wanted to do that. And I think, making an unconventional hero the lead is probably a smart decision, because you're just going to be so marred in expectations by trying to match it with other things if you're trying to reinvent it, because you still want to, you've got your Henry Cavill already, he's pre-established as this continuity Superman, but you want to try and keep this continuity whilst starting something else inside it. Fine, make Black Adam your new something else, But then they've decided at some point, no, we love Peacemaker so much, we're just going to do a whole reboot by Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which we're just going to start again, new cast, new actors. James Gunn, you're going to take over everything. You're done with Guardians of the Galaxy now, thank God. You're just going to come with us because we loved working with you on Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, Do whatever you like. Give carte blanche, do it. Because Walter Hamada was just seen as just an absolute false start. And there was, he was married and things about, the investigations with Justice League, and he defended Joss Whedon with the Ray Fisher stuff. It was just not very great, right? And then I think this was a big humbling for Dwayne Johnson, wasn't it?
I think it must have been, because, as we say, after this he did Red Notice, but that was probably already in production. But for the last couple of years now, he's kind of pulled back from acting a little bit.
Yeah, he shows up to do some wrestling stuff.
Yeah, he's back to wrestling recently, which that's him, getting back to his roots, I guess.
Yeah, so he can, start again, I suppose. Which, is perfectly fine. Maybe some people just need to step away from their AAA status, because I really think The Rock's massively suffered from overexposure from the past 7 years. Maybe not the past 2 years from right now, but go back 2 years, then the 5 years preceding that, 7 years or whatever. He was just everywhere. And I think if you overexpose because if you think of yourself, if you're famous, as your own intellectual property.
And saying that, he has his own, Superman at the end of Fast X, doesn't he? Where it's oh my god, The Rock is back in the movies.
Yeah, but those films are kind of infrequent releases.
True.
I don't think that's going to be something that we need to worry about too much, It's The Rock vehicle every other year. The skyscraper one where he's got the fake leg. The San Andreas is the big kaiju one, whose name I forget again. The Jumanjis, he's everything, everywhere. That Jungle Cruise one he done with Emily Blunt, remember that? The Disney one?
I forgot about Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, I never even saw that film, but that's the point. He was just everywhere, right? And it wasn't everywhere over a decade, it was everywhere over half a decade, and it's just too much. People just get fed up with seeing your face everywhere, and it's got not even really got anything to do with the quality of the project at a certain level. It's just to do with we want to see other people do some stuff, We're too much Rock. I saw the Rock movie 6 months ago. I don't want to see the other Rock film, especially if, again, his acting isn't tremendous. It's not like he's transforming to be a different person. It's just the Rock doing Rock things. Mm-hmm. This is where Vin Diesel's quite smart. He doesn't show up all the time.
I mean, Vin Diesel's his own kind of worms.
He is, but he's never overexposed.
Yeah, well, I think that about covers it for Black Adam.
Yeah, that's us. That's a Black Adam.
So the question is, we did talk about doing a graveyard episode, but the more I think about it, the more I'm not sure how that episode's actually going to work.
We're undecided viewers. We're undecided listeners.
Because the next movie on our slate is Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Great.
We're getting into last year now.
Yeah, this is us winding down the DCU. This is last when it turns off the lights. Because Black Adam
certainly goes out with a whimper, not a bang, that's for sure.
Black Adam was the final film that came out when we thought this was still going to be an ongoing thing. It was after. This was it. Everything after this was, we know we're ending it.
Yep. These are the movies that were already in production. Obviously, we would be doing Batgirl next, I think, but Well,
what? I never heard of it.
No, it had that lady and Commissioner Gordon, I assume.
J.K. Simmons.
Was it J.K. Simmons? Okay.
It was J.K. Simmons. It was
J.K. Simmons, but Michael Keaton was also supposed to show up.
Yeah, I think I think Batgirl was supposed to come out after the Flash kill. I don't think that was quite as recent.
Was it?
As I
Okay.
think it was. Yeah.
I think I'm just thinking of when it was officially cancelled.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so let's talk about it now. We can cut out this a bit, but we can just, I'm probably just going to vote to jump straight to Shazam.
Yeah, of course we jump straight to Shazam. Absolutely. If we ever decide to do a graveyard thing, we could literally drop that whenever. I don't think there should be any particular pressure to do that in any sequential order. You could, because there was the Aquaman villains, the Trench. Remember they were getting their own movie.
We have talked about some of these as we were going along.
Yeah, it's fine. Next week we'll be talking about Shazam. Kel, sing us out.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for listening. Nathan, where can the people find you?
Listeners can
on the
find
internet?
me at Nathan Tinney basically anywhere. I think Hive's a lost cause now. They haven't got back to my...
Oh, no, don't say
they're
that.
They're not responding to my emails, Kel. They're not responding to my support emails. I think the account's gone, even though you can still find it if you look for it, but I just don't have access to it.
That is a tragedy.
It is. Maybe one day I'll get it back randomly because it seems like they're just such an unstable service that it'll just allow me back in one day and everything will be fine. But it's not a thing that I can tell you right now is the case.
We can only dream.
Yeah, but Mastodon, Blue Sky, Threads, Twitter, wherever, Instagram, you'll find me, Nathan Tinney. At Nathan Tinney anywhere, you'll find me. Kel, where can we find you?
People can, of course, find me at Kyle the Scott on YouTube. I'm currently working on my Halo 5 video, so that's going to be fun because I love that game, unlike everybody else in the world.
Maybe I've come around to it, Kyle. Let's see.
But yes, thank you very much for listening, and we will hear from you next time for Shazam! Fury of the Gods.